Hey guys, thanks for coming back to visit my channel. In today's video, we're going to be making a quick and easy egg bake with some great vegetables in it and some great flavor, so stay tuned. For today's recipe, we'll be using almond milk, mild shredded cheddar cheese, tomatoes, Lacinto Kale, and I have to figure out how to pronounce that, I never say it right, as well as mushrooms, some asparagus, 4 eggs, and to cook our meal in, we'll be using ramekins and covering them with foil. So let's get started. The first thing that we want to do is go ahead and get our ramekins sprayed with some olive oil. This is just olive oil that I bought from the store. It's a spray brand, and I want to spray it around in the ramekins to make sure that it covers all of it so that when we take it out of the ramekins, then we don't have to worry about it sticking. Now let's get started by adding our eggs to the bowl, and we're going to crack 4 eggs into the bowl here. And I normally use Eggland's Best if I cannot find natural eggs. So let's go ahead and get those eggs into the bowl here. And I love eggs. I eat them all the time. For breakfast, of course, for lunch, as snacks. I just love eggs just all the time. Now, I was a little bit lazy and I didn't get my whisk, but I have a fork and I'm gonna mix the eggs or beat them just slightly here so that they're slightly beat once we start adding all of our ingredients. Next, we're going to go ahead and start adding our kale. This is the kale that we were talking about that I can't pronounce, Lacinto Kale. I have to figure that out. I'm really going to find out how to pronounce that. And this is about a cup. I did wilt it a little bit in a skillet on the stove before I put it in. And so here's the kale. We're going to get that put in. Next, we're going to go ahead and add our asparagus. I did also cook that on the stove a little bit, and this is about 1/4 to 1/2 cup of asparagus, just depending on how much you're making. And I will put all the information below, guys. Now we're going to add our mushrooms, about 1/4 to 1/2 cup of mushrooms as well. This was a mix of baby Bella and cremini. I got it from my local store, which here is H-E-B, and I did cook that on the stove with a little bit of garlic as well. Next, we'll add our cherub tomatoes, and this is 1/4 to 1/2 cup of cherub tomatoes cut in half. I rinsed them and then cut them in half. And finally, we're going to add my favorite. I love cheese. Who doesn't? Mild cheddar cheese, and it is shredded. This is about 1/2 to 1/4 cup. So the measurements are pretty easy, 1/2 to 1/4 cup of everything. And we're going to go ahead and mix. Get this mixed real well with our eggs and all of our ingredients. It looks so amazing already. I can't believe it. It's just so pretty with all the colors. So now that's mixed pretty well here. And now we're going to add our almond milk. I know that I had said that we would add a cup of almond milk, I think, at one point, but I did change that and I decided to add 1/2 cup of almond milk, and we'll get that mixed well with all of our other ingredients in the bowl here. And the milk is going to kind of make the eggs a little bit more fluffy and full. And I'm going to get all the cheese out here. Can't miss out on any cheese. Got to make sure we get it all in there. Next, we're going to go ahead and add some salt, Himalayan sea salt. It's really good for you, and I use this pink sea salt. Then some pepper. And let's go ahead and mix that up really well in the bowl. Get all that goodness and cheese mixed up there. Now we're ready to put it into our ramekins. We have our 4 ramekins, our mixture, and a measuring cup to pour it into the ramekins. Remember, we went ahead and we sprayed the ramekins, and this is how they look. These are some pretty big ramekins that I got from Target for like $1.99, but they're really sturdy. They're really nice ramekins. Now, I wanted to make sure I didn't make too much of a mess, and that's where the metal measuring cup comes in. I'll dip it in and then pour the mixture into the ramekins. So let me go ahead and start pouring it in and try to get that in there as evenly as I can. And as you can see, I'm prone to make a mess. But I want to make sure I get a mix of everything into the ramekins, and that's what I'm trying to do here. And we're going to try to fill the 4 of them, like I said, as evenly as we can. How about we listen to a little music as I get these ramekins filled up? Now we're going to put our foil on top of our ramekins. It doesn't have to be on there like super tight, but we want to make sure it's covering so that you don't get a lot of the moisture in there and so that it cooks evenly on the top. And I just got some foil and ripped it like in half or 3/4, however you want to say it, just enough to fit over the top of my ramekins. Now we have all of the ramekins covered, and we're going to get ready to put them into the Instant Pot and get them cooking. What I tend to do with my Instant Pot is to go ahead and turn it on ahead of time so that it doesn't take so long to get to pressure. What you can do is hit meat, stew, or any one of the others and just manually set a time on it and then leave the top off. And when you leave the top off, what it'll do is it'll get that water heated up really quickly so that you don't have to worry about waiting for that time for it to build up to the pressure. Now we're going to get our ramekins into the Instant Pot. We're going to sit them into the pot on the trivet. And since my ramekins are a little bigger than what you would normally see, I'm going to stack them. So 1 on each side and then 2 on the opposite ends of those 2 ramekins. That way they will all fit into the Instant Pot. I wanted to show you how I stack the ramekins in the Instant Pot. As you can see, there are 2 on the bottom and 2 on the top, and they're on opposite sides so that they would all fit. We can now go ahead and set our settings on the Instant Pot. What I'm going to do is hit pressure, and then I'm going to take this down to about 8 minutes and allow the egg bake to cook. Once it's cooked, and let me go ahead and put the top on. When I put the top on, I want to make sure it's sealed, and then make sure that oh my gosh, I just forgot what they call it, but make sure that the vent is pointed to seal so that we can make sure that it holds the pressure and it cooks properly. Now, like I said before, we want to go ahead and set the Instant Pot to about 8 to 10 minutes, and then we'll allow a natural pressure release for about 5 to 8 minutes. I'm going to set my cooker to 8 minutes, and we'll allow our egg bake to cook, and we'll be right back. Now, our egg bake has cooked and our time is up. I've allowed the natural pressure release. Let's get the ramekins out of the pressure cooker. I'm going to use my hands, which is not good. You probably shouldn't do this. I do it all the time. It is hot, but let's go ahead and get these out and sit them a little bit away from each other so that we can get all 4 of them out. Now, the pressure cooker is off as I'm doing this, like I said, and I want to go ahead and take the top off of one of them, and we'll see how it looks and dig into it and see how it tastes. This looks so amazing. I did sprinkle a little bit of cheese on the top. It's cooked perfectly and it just looks great. Let me go ahead and give it a try and see how it tastes. Get that mushroom. Yes, this is so amazing. It's really fluffy. It's flavorful. The salt and pepper that I added worked just fine. I do have 3 of them, so I'm going to put them in the fridge and have them for later. If you like this video, don't forget to click the thumbs up button and subscribe to my channel. If there's a video you'd like to see, don't forget to let me know below. Thanks for watching.